Hello, everybody. I hope everyone is having a wonderful Wednesday evening. Welcome back to another music therapy podcast. Today is our 16th episode of our music theory podcast series, which is super fun. My name is Holly Dale, and I am a musician. And this is my father. His name is Toby Holly, and he is a licensed mental health counselor.
Correct.
I said that right? Okay, good. But yeah, so we started this podcast with the idea of being able to hopefully help people use music theory as, music therapy as a means of, self-therapy in a sense. Like you can go through these podcasts and listen to these songs and hopefully they'll be able to help you out. And we have some terms and ideas to maybe help you guys out in that process. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that is our ultimate goal. And yeah, so today is our 16th episode and we are going to be looking at another Jason Gray song. Last Wednesday, we looked at a Jason Gray song. Do you remember the name?
Be Kind, yeah.
It was Be Kind. Yeah, and that was actually a more recent song. I think it came out in 2023. Mm-hmm. The one we're looking at today came out, I think, in 2016. Am I right about that? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So 2016 is when this song came out, and it is called Sparrows. And it is a super pretty song. I'm actually super stoked to get into this one today. I remember when this song came on the radio, and honestly, it was a song that I played constantly. It was so cool. I enjoyed listening to it so much. There's some really fun, lyrical concepts in here. That was probably one of my main draws to the song initially, was his music when he writes it is super deep, and it's so fun to be able to kind of like pull apart and think about kind of the phrasing and maybe the things that he was trying to say to his audience, and then just kind of the message that he was trying to portray. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. It's Sparrows by Jason Gray. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the song for us. Do you want to go ahead and just kind of give like a rundown of like the basics of what the song is talking about?
Sure. I too enjoy Jason Gray. Last week's song just kind of encouraged me to think a little bit more about Jason, and I noticed a lot of his music actually is very deep.
Yes, that's so cool. I love that.
Has just a real neat use for that music therapy theme, and it's music therapy has been practiced in the world of counseling for, I'll just say, a little minute,
yeah, it is a newer thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fairly new, and it's actually taking root, I think, which is wonderful because music is extremely powerful. And so to bring it into the therapeutic environment, I think, is super helpful to people. And so, like you said, I mean, that's the reason why we wanted to, I'm a counselor and you're a musician, so it just makes sense that we would
figured it was a good duo, right?
Our thoughts regarding how music can be a blessing for folks, and so that's what we're doing. And I guess on to the song Sparrows. I don't want to speak for Jason, the artist in it, but the theme, the biblical theme that just kind of that I thought of when I was listening to the song. It's probably found in a couple of places, but Matthew 6:26 is this cool story where Jesus is kind of chatting with folks, and he's just mentioning, wow, if God is interested as he is in the birds, how much more interested and concerned is he with us? Because he, while he loves birds, sure, he loves us a ton.
Right. Well, that's the hope, right?
Right. And so I think maybe, I suspect that's what that theme for sure, and maybe even that verse is what compelled Jason to produce this song. It's really, really cool song. So it means to help us deal with our worry. And a lot of times when folks are struggling with worry, another thing that they struggle with is just not having confidence. And they kind of go together, and so taking this song to heart, allowing the song to minister to you, I think can actually bolster a deeper sense of confidence and trust in God. And so we hope to point how that is a thing with this particular song in the course of this conversation.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. So that's the overall gist of what we think the song's going to be talking about. And now we're going to go ahead and do basically a deep dive of the song. What we like to do is listen to the song first, and then I will go through and read the lyrics for us, just to make sure that we captured all the words being said. And after we do that, we'll go ahead and, just kind of do an analysis of like individual sections. Either it'll be like the verse, the chorus, that sort of thing. So let's go ahead and jump into that. that. So the first thing we're looking at here, okay, let me pull up the music. That's probably important.
Very upbeat.
Yes, it is a very upbeat song, yeah. Okay, let's see
Which
how
is
loud.
fun.
Okay, here we go. So yeah, we'll get into the first verse, and then we'll break it down from there. Yeah, very upbeat. I love it.
You can't add a single day by worrying. You worry your life away. Oh, don't worry your life away.
That's cool. I like that concept. We'll get into that.
You can't change a single thing by freaking out. It's just gonna close you in. Oh, don't let the trouble
Okay, and that is the first verse. Man, okay, we already have a lot to unpack in there.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I immediately was drawn to the first line. I love that first line. That was really cool. Let's go ahead and read that first line. So it says, you can't add a single day by worrying. Oh, that's cool. I love that.
Yep.
All right, before we get into thoughts, though, let me go ahead and read the full verse here, and then we'll add some of our thoughts to it. So let's see. All right, so the first verse reads, you can't add a single day by worrying. You'll worry your life away. Don't worry your life away. You can't change a single thing by freaking out. It's just going to close you in. Don't let the trouble win. That's cool. I love that first verse. Oh, that's really nice.
I mean, I hate to reduce it to mechanics. The first verse is what we think of as the hook, right?
That's true. Yeah.
So, and not only is it functioning in that way, but I mean, gosh, I think it's really true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so worry, there we go, in the first line there, that's what the song is going to talk a lot about.
Yeah.
And he's reasoning with us to not worry because, you know why? Worry doesn't do anything.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
And the sort of my reaction, sort of the second theme there in that first verse is freaking out. What good is that going to do? And to freak out, just sort of my, I guess I'll say, psychological point of view in the freak out part.
Okay.
Normally that has to do with a person trying to make something stop or make something change. They're really upset about it, they're worried about it, and so what do? They freak out. And I wouldn't say that that's necessarily logical, but it's often a knee-jerk reaction to the worry. And so you could kind of say the freak out part is sort of like control. And so here we are facing some scary, hard thing that we're stressed out about, and we're going to try and make it all better. And here's an idea, freak out.
Okay. Yeah, no, I see what you're saying.
And it
That's good,
actually kind of doesn't work.
Yeah, well, I thought so, maybe, yeah.
Right. So, and, throughout the song, he offers different, certainly more sensible, healthy solutions, one of which is trusting God.
Mm-hmm. That's
so we'll
good.
kind of see that unfold, but the first verse, I think, opens up some really cool thoughts.
It does. Again, I love the wording already. Jason did a great job with this. That first line in the first verse is awesome. But yeah, I don't know. For me, I feel like the verse is kind of speaking directly to like that common sense of like anxiety and worry. Like you were saying, I think like the first line is already establishing that worry aspect. You know what I mean? And it reminds me that worrying doesn't change anything. It would only trap us in a sense of like negativity.
That's true.
And I think from a Christian perspective, it would encourage us to trust in God's sovereignty and to just let go of our anxieties. One thing I guess I could speak out of that's a little bit more like personally is that, I'm a musician. Some things that musicians probably tend to struggle with, I'm probably one of them, is like the idea of like finance. You know what I mean? There could be a lot of worry in finance in regards to being
starving
an artist. Right, right, exactly. Because there's not a guaranteed paycheck at the end of like a gig or some sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like you go kind of day by day wondering, oh my gosh, am I going to be able to eat today? That's not a fun thing to have to, right? That's not a thing. That's, like fun to experience. But within that, what's fun about this song, even as I recall hearing it for the first time, the idea of like, we'll get there in a minute in the chorus where it says, even the sparrow knows, you know what I mean? That God will take care of his people. Like, even in the verse, it was like, what did you say? It was Matthew, we have it here.
6:26.
6:26.
Yeah.
That says, look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap what they sow,
Right.
or they do not store away in barns,
Right.
and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. You are not much more valuable. Are you not much more valuable than they? Like that last line, like, yeah, you are more valuable than the sparrows.
Sure.
And God has taken care, and he is taking care of the sparrows.
I was just thinking the artist could eat sparrows. I don't know.
Okay, all right, fine. All right, that's fine. Anyway, so let's continue, I guess, with our topic here. But yeah, I don't know. That's just something that I wanted to add as like a little personal note to that anxiety thing.
Wouldn't that be like this fun hidden message that Jason was like,
Okay.
we're eating sparrows.
Okay, fine.
Problem solved.
Okay, well, let's just go ahead and jump into the music. All right, let's see. Where did I put it? Here we go. All right. So now we're going to jump into the pre-chorus. That's right. Okay, so there's actually a really cool musical part that I wanted to actually talk on right now, which is, I believe, at the pre-chorus. So let's see. Make sure it's not too loud. There we go. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's at the pre-chorus. Here we go.
But you're not on your own.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and pause it again there. But yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to kind of like note on the fact that, typically as a musician, I myself can kind of like talk into this aspect with my own music. Whenever I want my audience to pay attention to a certain part of my song or a verse, what I typically will do is kind of change the way that the song is structured. In the sense that, you heard that there was a lot of movement in the first verse, there was a lot more instrumentation, but all of a sudden for the pre-chorus, everything got really quiet except for like, I think that was like a xylophone or something in the background. So it's really just allowing your audience listener to focus on the words that is being said by the artist, or maybe a certain instrument that you want to be heard out of the instrumentation. And so to me, I feel like he's trying to gather people's attention to the pre-chorus here. So that way it can lead into what the chorus is having to say. But it's kind of like grabbing the audience's attention. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I just want to kind of add into that. Did you want to like talk about the pre-chorus?
It might be interesting too. It's short, just a couple of verses or lines, but
2
it has
lines,
something to do with the sense of alone.
Yeah.
And sure. I mean, when you're worried, you often do feel alone in your worries, and so I kind of think it's interesting that, to the point you're making, he sort of silenced the music just a little bit, almost as if to kind of feel more alone in your thoughts or something, maybe.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, there we go. All right, so yeah, that was the pre-chorus. So now let's go ahead and jump into the chorus. So I also had an interesting thought for the chorus that I just had by looking at the lyrics here. But let's go ahead and listen to it first before I
Deal.
say my idea. Okay, let's see. There we go. All right, here we go.
But you're not on your own. If he can hold the world, he can hold this moment.
That's a good first line for the chorus. Yeah.
Out a field or flower escapes his notice. Even the sparrow knows he holds tomorrow.
Okay, so that was the chorus. So here was my thought that I had looking at the lyrics here. So it's interesting, with the first verse, we've kind of seen that there's an establishment of a sense of worry and anxiety that he's portraying through the lyrics. And something that I noticed is that whenever it starts to go into the chorus, there's this immediate sense of like carefree or like no worry. And kind of what the thought made me think of that is, it may be silly, but like when in the line it says la la la, you know what I mean? I don't know. That's kind of like, yeah. So I feel like that is a phrase that like maybe you think of like a kid or something and they're like skipping or something, right? So I think that phrase just is associated with the idea of skipping, being carefree, maybe even like, you know, childish in that sense. But to me, I associate it with a sense of carefree, which is polar opposite to the verse 1.
Child is, you know, thought of as free, right? I mean,
that's true.
Children are free, so actually, I think the child theme probably works.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, yeah. I don't know. That was just kind of as I was looking at the lyrics, I noticed that, and I was like, oh, that's
I don't
cool.
know what it means, but I didn't even think of that until you said it. That's awesome.
Oh yeah. Okay. Cool. I'm glad I could assist.
Means you're the genius.
Oh no, I don't know about that, but okay. All right. So let's go ahead and actually read the words here for the chorus, and then we'll jump into some more thoughts from the actual therapist. Okay, so here is the chorus. So the chorus reads, "If he can hold the world, he can hold this moment. Not a field nor flower escapes his notice. Even the sparrow knows he holds tomorrow." I like that last line too. Even the sparrow knows he holds tomorrow. That's awesome. Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to put words in Jason's mouth, but it's like, you know, the sparrow's not really worrying about anything.
Right,
The sparrow
that's
knows
true.
he's good.
Yeah, right.
What the sparrow doesn't realize is the artists are going to be eating him. That's what they're. Okay, so I mean, as far as the chorus is concerned, I mean, it's repeated several times, as choruses are,
right,
in the song, and I think the message is phenomenal. And the first thing that stands out to me would be perspective. And so we have, you know, God holding the world, as it were, in his hand.
Right.
And I don't know, that just seems big.
Right, yeah.
And so if he is that huge, then surely he can deal with whatever, you know, littleish thing I got going on.
Right, that's true.
And so I think that's kind of fun to think about. And then just the flower, you know, and that says maybe something a little different. Flowers are delicate, you know, and they don't go unnoticed. He notices them. That certainly has beautiful biblical themes. The Psalms talks about, you know, that. And so definitely I think there is something to be said there. If he's concerned about flowers and sparrows, then he's concerned about us. So I mean, I think that's the embedded message there.
Yeah.
In the chorus. Very beautiful.
Yeah, it is really pretty. Yeah, I definitely do feel like the chorus here is emphasizing God's power and his care for his people. I feel like you were saying, if he can hold the entire world, he can handle our current situations. Yeah. I feel like it's like this reminder is kind of like, it's comforting. I feel like it can assure us of his attentive care for, like, I don't know, like details in your story and our lives. Just as he cares for the sparrows, you know, he's just as in tuned and more in tune to what you have going on in your story. You know what I mean?
It's a call to trust, right? I mean, I think definitely a call. I wouldn't want to think about the chorus without using the word trust in there somewhere, you know, to trust God that he is big enough and that he loves us enough and he's invested enough to trust him that he's got us.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah. That's good. Yeah, so that was the chorus. All right, let's go ahead and jump into verse 2 now.
All right.
Let's see what concept we get into here. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so that was verse 2. Interestingly, too, is toward the bottom of verse 2, it kind of leads into more of like a positive message with like hope. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's kind of cool. All right, let's go ahead and read verse 2, and then we'll get into some thoughts. All right, so verse 2 reads, "Lean in, and it's hard to miss. Everything can change when you make it his. He wants to carry it, carefree in the care of God. When you let it go, you'll find that he's enough. You never leave his love." That's cool.
Yeah, this is definitely a cool verse, and there are some fun things that when, you know, we're finished discussing the song, we'll kind of talk about, mental health and counseling and strategies and
Right.
stuff. And so this verse kind of points to some of those themes. It's actually a very full verse.
Yeah.
I think, to me, what it's saying, again, I just sort of inferred this in the previous verse, trusting
Right.
God. And I would even go further and say that the stress, the challenge, whatever it is that we might be facing in a given moment, is an opportunity to trust God. And He wants us to want to trust Him, to kind of take steps in His direction, be humble. I mentioned earlier about, freaking out could be seen as an act of control on our parts to sort of deal with the issue ourselves. And of course, God is a far better way to deal with the issue, relying on Him, asking for His strength, His guidance, His insights. And sort of the partnership with God is, better.
That's true.
And so I think this is what verse 2 is kind of pointing to. And there's a lot of concrete themes that we can practice in verse 2 that are helpful.
That's good. Yeah. I feel like this verse also encourages us to lean in to God's care and surrender our burdens to Him.
Yeah, good word. Surrender.
Surrender. That's what I was thinking of. And then I feel like it also highlights the transformative power of giving our worries to God and trusting in His sufficiency.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a call to also live carefree. You know what I mean? And it's an assurance in His love that He will be there for you regardless. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the verse even also infers, hey, like lean in, try this and then see what He does. Kind of watch God work.
Right. Yeah. That's good. Yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at now the pre-chorus and chorus. I'll probably just go ahead and play both since the pre-chorus is one line. Very fast. Okay, let's see. Yeah, here's the chorus. I'll turn it down just a little bit. Here we go. I love the music in this song. It's so nice.
Yes. It's good energy.
Okay. That was the bridge, right? So let's go ahead and pause it there. Was there anything else that you wanted to add with the chorus?
I might like just to kind of reiterate a question that we sometimes put out there for you folks who are listening to us. If you ever sort of think to yourself, what is it that I give to God? What do I bring to God? What is my part in the relationship that I have with God? What do I do for Him? And the answer to that question is anything good that you do is actually an offering to God. Good represents God. It points to God. And the song is inviting us to do this good thing, which is to trust God. And think about any relationship that you might have with a friend or a spouse or a sibling or something. If you trust them, think about the compliment, it's kind of the reliance that you're practicing in that moment of trust. And so the invitation is to let God in and practice this life, this relationship with Him, because gosh, He really makes Himself vulnerable and wants us to do that with Him.
That's good. I love that.
Just kind of the relational piece.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and actually now jump into the bridge.
Perfect.
And back it up just a little bit. I don't miss any of it.
Okay.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, I love that. I also love how the music again dies down to kind of like reiterate the point, like, look at the sparrow. God's got you. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's great. Let's go ahead and read the bridge, and then we'll jump into some thoughts. Okay, so here's the bridge. There's not a single star that's out of place. There's nothing broken He can't remake. If you long for hope when you're afraid, look at the sparrow. That's cool. Nice.
I like to think about, again, that perspective, and he's just sort of saying the same thing, almost in the same context, whereas before it was the world, now it's the stars. And it's that macro view, almost like stepping back, looking at the entire universe and conceptualizing that God is managing all of that.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
So I just, the power, the presence, the capability. Yeah, that's God's.
Yeah.
And then, the contrasting point would be, look at the sparrow. He's got it going on.
Right.
The sparrow's good to go. He's not worried about nothing.
Yeah, that's good.
And, sparrow, fragile, So it's good. It's a good message.
That is a good message, yeah. I feel like the bridge also highlights God's meticulous care for and his power to restore. I feel like it's a reminder that nothing is beyond his control or repair. I like your comparison to space. That was really cool. I think that kind of touches on that. And then I feel like, when we look at the sparrow, it serves as a powerful symbol of God's unwavering love and his hope that we can find in him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate you re-emphasizing love. I think that's definitely true.
Yeah. Okay, so that was the bridge. Do we want to go ahead and listen to the chorus and outro, or do we want to just...
It's the same, I think. So
it is the same.
The only thing I might say is just always remember whenever you see things repeated, it means pay attention, because there's something emphasized there in repeating it. So that is
true. Yeah, as a musician, I totally validate that. I feel like that is true. Even as I'm looking here at the lyrics here, the outro says, even the sparrow knows he holds tomorrow. So that's, that key point was kind of hinted at and said throughout the entire song over and over again. Probably he wants you to walk away with at least that part of the song. He's like, at least remember this part. Okay, so that was our overall kind of deep analysis into looking at each of the verses and the chorus and the bridge. Now we get into a fun part of the podcast. We go through and we basically talk about 2 questions. But before we actually jump into those main 2, last time we had 2 lovely people ask 2 questions for us that they were hoping we could answer on the podcast today. And it's very perfect because both of these questions have to do with worry and fear. So I thought it was very appropriate to be looking at these 2 questions for the song that we're looking at today.
Do my best.
Yes, good luck to you. But okay, so the first question we have was a question that I think is kind of based around worry. That's my guess. But you could tell me otherwise if that is not the case. But the question was, how can we differentiate between healthy worries and those that become debilitating? That was the first question.
Yeah, I mean, actually, that's a really good question. I mean, if we were to screen worry, and, I think we probably should try and find another word than worry. I don't know, maybe I'll think of something. But if you're going to cross a really busy road, you certainly need to be paying attention. I don't mean to say worried, but you certainly need to know that there is risk involved. Bad things can happen if you're haphazard in crossing a road, without paying attention to the traffic lights and stuff. And so, I mean, I think the function of something like worry, like the healthy version of worry, we'll call it that is valuable. And it, maybe, I don't know, wisdom. I'm reaching there. And I wouldn't. I mean, this obviously that's not debilitating, right? It helps you just be safe.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, but debilitating worry is definitely a thing.
Right.
And I guess we'll probably, kind of touch a few of those themes as we go through this, but folks can struggle with really intense things that is born up out of worry. Stuff like panic and all sorts of things can be a product, not being able to make decisions, just going around and kind of getting stuck. And that's debilitating worry. And there's no quality of life in that stuff. And so comparing and contrasting between making a decision that is a product of just this sense of risk relative to something where you're stuck and you can't move and you're paralyzed.
Right.
So that might be sort of how you would distinguish it.
Okay, that's good. Thanks. Okay.
Sure.
I think that was a good answer to that question. So now we're going to get into our second question. Our second question from one of our lovely audience members was, how can I contribute positively to the world regardless of what the future holds? When I saw that question, I think that they were probably talking out of a sense of fear. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How do I then, with the idea of fear within me, being afraid, how can I contribute regardless of like what the future holds.
I don't remember what verse it was in the song, but I do remember there was a line that talked about having hope instead of fear, something along those lines.
Okay.
And I think that was a good contrast. So if one hopes to be, which is a beautiful thing, helpful to the world around us, involved, invested, pouring into the world around us, I do think that whole aspiration would have to be born up out of hope. And so to me, hope is achieved through just trust in Jesus, knowing that he is a team with us, and that he's empowered us to do some really potentially great things if we step into it with him. And I think fear would be debilitating to any kind of objective that you were trying to, because you might be afraid and you might not take the first step into it, that kind of thing. And so I hope I'm answering the question. I think having hope is a way to move forward despite the fact that there are scary things out there. And again, God is big, right. And so he's going to look after me. That doesn't mean you won't suffer, but I trust that God's even going to do something good with my suffering, which is not maybe at first glance a sensible statement, but when you stare at that actually does make sense, because God does make lemonade out of lemons.
True, very true. Nice. Okay, so those are our 2 questions from our audience members.
Okay.
If you guys have any questions as well that you would like to be answered or us to look at during stream, just go ahead and let us know through the comments, and we will put it in our list and get to those questions as soon as we can.
That's true, and we're multi-streaming on all sorts of platforms.
Oh yeah, a lot, many. But yeah, just in the comments, if that's something that you guys have a question about anything, we'll do our best to answer it for you guys. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into this part of the stream, which is always super fun. So I typically like to ask, after we do our deep analysis and we go through some of the audience's questions, I like to go through and basically ask 2 questions. And the first question is, what is the overall message of this song, and does it relate to me? So basically, for this song, who would best
be ministered to?
Be ministered
from the
to,
song,
exactly.
That kind of thing.
Yeah,
Be
for
helped.
the song, right? And so that's our first question. And the second one is, now that I know that this song works for me, how do I then use this song in a music therapy setting?
Kind of concrete examples of how to actually benefit from the song itself.
Yes, exactly. Put in a very more educated way.
No,
Thank you.
No. Right. So, as to question number 1, any individual who would, and that's kind of like all of us at one point in life, struggling with anxiety and worry. I mean, just to kind of point out the obvious. I did actually want to say a little bit more about what some versions of worry might look like. But just to kind of proceed along down the list, I mean, things that are products of stress, or someone who's struggling with maybe being very alone. Those are tough things, and even if you're trying to grow, kind of like in your faith, and just maybe learn to trust God in a way that brings more freedom. So I mean, that is sometimes just like a direct goal that someone knows they need to accomplish. Indecisiveness, lack of confidence. I said that early on. That's absolutely true. If you worry a lot, you probably struggle having confidence.
True.
So, but all right. So worry is akin to anxiety, and in the world of anxiety, and you'd use the word debilitating. That was a great kind of phrase. I mean, if there's a lot of panic, sometimes you're just like really afraid, and so out of that can come panic, and then you just have a hard time going places and doing things and being free. So. Okay, so that's not cool. And then maybe there's a condition called obsessive compulsive disorder, and it really relates to anxiety a lot. And that's a person who's maybe really trying to do certain things repetitiously over and over and over to try and somehow make themselves feel better. Post-traumatic stress disorder, like that's a thing. Trauma can compel you into feeling very, very afraid, and so debilitating things can happen, and that's sort of born up out of various we'll say extreme natures of anxiety. And so I mean, like, listening to the song isn't going to make all that go away, so I'm not trying to be simple-minded. But if you do struggle with something like that, this song could be useful in, we'll call it a whole program of what you might be able to do to kind of feel better over time.
Right.
And so I guess, so I've tried to answer the question, who might best benefit from letting this song serve them. And now maybe just some ideas that I could offer, concrete ideas. Is that okay?
Yeah, so basically what you were saying is, I think overall people who would probably best be helped when listening to the song, as I guess people struggling with like anxiety, worry, maybe even like loneliness, isolation, that sort of thing.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of like, I guess, who the, maybe we'll say, target audience is for this song. So now that we know that is kind of where it's pointing to, how can we then use the song to, like, use therapy on ourselves, basically. Yeah,
and even if it's supplement therapy, or you could be working with a therapist that practices music therapy, or if they don't, this could be something that you do kind of extra.
Right.
In the context of your own counseling, or if you're not in counseling, I mean, like you said, I mean, just personal growth, that works. I mean, that's a really good thing. So the first suggestion that I'll make, I'd like to make it unique to this particular song. And there's a few that might be applicable to any song that you're trying to use to kind of improve the quality of life. But this one, think perhaps of the title "Carefree Challenge."
Okay.
I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So what you would do is look at your story, find something that your life story, find something that you are particularly worried about kind of a lot. Usually worries come, kind of like in habits, like you worry about the same thing over and over and over, or a couple of things over and over. That's usually how it works out.
True.
So identify one, and then purpose that you are going to give that worry to God. You're going to be as responsible as you can relative to overcoming the thing, whatever that is. And then, you pray and you say, okay, Jesus, I've done what I can do. Jesus, take the wheel.
Yeah.
And then, kind of, I always think writing things down is good. And I guess you don't have to, but, kind of journal that.
Yeah.
And then survey and really practice that in your mind. Like, don't let yourself sit there and just percolate on the issue as if you're going to come up with the aha moment, having thought of it the 10,000th time, right? I mean, really exercise some discipline and say, I'm not gonna think about that. I gave that to God. Not gonna think about that. Keep it on the altar. Like kind of hold yourself accountable to that standard. And then the next day, while you're practicing that, sort of ask yourself, okay, how you doing? Take a temperature there,
like self-checking.
Self-check,
yeah.
And then over time, right? Just kind of watch it and see what God does with it, right? You've already decided that you can't solve it, and so you're leaving it in God's hands, and let's let God work on it.
That's good.
And really put, in this sense, God to the test. I mean that respectfully.
Yeah.
and there's no reason why you couldn't actually kind of increase this with various worries that you might be worrying about. So we're going to call that the Carefree Challenge. It's more about trusting God in your story.
That's good. I love that. That was awesome. Good job. Okay.
Good.
Yeah. So that was basically our two thoughts there about who would best benefit, and then what to do now that we know that this would benefit us. So yeah, thank you so much for answering that. You did that so well. It was really good. Okay. So yeah, that was our episode 16, which was looking at Sparrows by Jason Gray. And that was a great episode. I absolutely love that song. It was so nice.
Very upbeat.
It was very upbeat. Yeah. Was the last one we did of Jason upbeat as well? I think it was.
It definitely was upbeat. It was very thoughtful.
Yes, that's what it is.
This one, I mean, just different in mood.
Yeah, different in mood. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah. But yeah, so that was our look at Sparrows, which was so much fun to do. Thank you guys for that suggestion.
And if I may mention one more thing, just kind of what we also do with each one of these songs, and we have 16 now.
Yes, 16.
Is we have prepared a carefully examined worksheet.
Oh yeah, I was going to jump into that.
And the worksheet is relative to the song, just to kind of help give concrete direction and how you could take this into something that is prayerful and really let the song kind of work for you. And we recently have established a subscription kind of opportunity on X
Yep.
And we were thinking that it might be just kind of a cool thing to offer those worksheets to anyone who cares to join us in the subscription world on X.
That would be so nice.
There's definitely other things that, we like to do for those who subscribe, but that's
oh my
just
gosh,
one of the things
I've got
that,
some really fun ideas that I have with that. It's going to be so cool. I can't put them into action yet, but I will be doing them super soon, and I will let y'all know whenever those are available. But yeah, this is one of the things that you'll get as a benefit. Yeah, both the music therapy and the singing, both worlds.
That's right.
But yeah, so thank you guys so much for joining our music therapy podcast for today. We'll be doing another one of these next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We do those every week. And if there's any songs that you guys would like us to look at, you can let us know through the comments.
That would be great.
And I'll also be doing both singing streams, both Friday and Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that will be over on TikTok, and I'm thinking I might do it here as well. We shall see. But that's pretty much it for us. Thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you had a blast today, and we will see you guys again super soon. Thank you guys.
Take care.